The views and opinions expressed by the hosts do not state or reflect those of the company and its management. Any assumptions, views, and insinuations made by the hosts or guests do not reflect those of the show, the management, and the network. Listener discretion is advised.
Warning. This podcast contains spoilers.
Third World Cinema Club.
This theater is equipped with signal jammers to prevent cell phone interference with the theater's sound and communications equipment. We urge you to switch off your cell phones to prevent battery drain and other accidental sound emissions.
Welcome everybody to Third World Cinema Club. I'm John Tawasil from Present Confusion.
I'm DJ Ramonas from ReverseDelay.net.
I am Princess Kinok of Film Police Reviews.
I am Jem of Jimilicula at Iba Pa.
Hello, I'm Engelbert Rafferty of Film Police Reviews.
Louis Baharom of Cinephilia.ph.
Ayun, so punta tayo kay Excuse Me, Miss.
Yes.
So isa tong film ng, ano ba to? Q Cinema ba to? Cinema.
Q Cinema
2019.
Yes.
Kung saan siya nanalo ng, if I'm not mistaken, yung Audience Choice Award siya yung nanalo.
Uh-oh.
So, may parang pedigree ng Cinemalaya behind this. This was directed by Sonny Calvento, who directed Nabubulok. And this was written by Arden Rod Condes, yan, friend of the pod, who directed last year's Cinemalaya Best Film, John Denver Trending. Pero ibang-iba siya sa John Denver Trending. Very light, very humorous. So, ayun.
Even from Nabubulok, parang layo niya.
Ang layo niya sa Nabubulok eh. Yun nga, tama. So, tama ba si DJ? Ay, ikaw pala, sorry.
Iniiwasan mo ko. Ayaw mo sa akin
Hindi. Ayan, Princess, what are your thoughts on Excuse Me, Miss?
Ayan, so, I'm very grateful na pinalabas siya ulit sa Cinemalaya kasi hindi ko siya nakita sa sa screening niya ng Q Cinema. Pero, well-deserving siya for audience choice kasi very in touch sa madla yung editing niya, yung pagiging baliw niya, and yung tema na trinatry niyang i-push through, which is again sa cinematic universe na mga pagod na. Ayun. Actually, for me, nakikita ko pa rin si Arden Rod dito or yung style niya ng pagsusulat.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi yung dialogue nila, although I don't know, somewhere nabasa ko na ang cute-cute and ang galing-galing umarte ng bida. Pero for me, hindi ganun yung register niya. I think it would have been more effective if it was given to someone more theatrical, more powerful, and more expressive than the lead. Pero buti na lang nandun si Bob Gibelli or basta si Bob, yung manager niya, and si Angelina Canapi.
Bob Gibelli.
Ayun, basta yung manager nila. Na si Angelina
Canapi.
Miles Canapi, and si Bob. Ayun. So it's a good thing na meron siyang dalawang supporting characters. I love the music. Tsaka mahilig kasi ako sa outro na yung out credits niya. Gusto ko yung pagkakadesign na parang very swift, very professional, very unemotional, very non-personal. Na parang ganun din yung tema kasi ng film na parang tinatry niyang i-evoke sa'yo na ito yung realidad na ang mga employees dito ay under not paid properly, tapos ang daming responsibilities, very impossible to achieve, pero you have to achieve it, yun. So, maganda yung pagkakagawa. Minor flaws lang, sana they could have given a better or given the role to someone else who could actually portray, especially yung nabaliw siya na part, lalo nung may nalaman niya yung secret ng boss niya kung bakit kaya niyang i-achieve lahat ng tasks.
Okay.
And yun. That's it.
So, guys, any more thoughts about Excuse Me, Miss?
Kasi I saw it at Q Cinema last year. And a friend of mine, his name is Mac John Bautista, I think he couldn't have put the entirety of the short film better. He described it kasi as more of like a free jazz band, wherein every single technical aspect, all the way to the screenplay and the direction of the film, contributed to what made it such a crowd pleaser. Yung editing, yung cinematography, and of course how absurdism was played in the themes that it's trying to portray, which is of course about contractualization and topics that are very timely to this date. Ayun. So it's like all of the things that were necessary to create a film, they all worked well together to create such a beautiful ensemble. And I agree din kay Ate Ces regarding the lead actress. I think with a more powerful actress kasi it's a very huge contrast between her and Myles Canapi. I mean, that's the Myles Canapi. Napaka-powerful ng acting niya always. So, it would have been better if it was given to someone who...
Rafi, if you were the casting director, who would you dream cast for this role? Which young actress?
If dream actress, Angelica Panganiban. Kasi yung remember yung niya, yung random humor niya in Here Comes the Bride. I think it will work well with Excuse Me, Miss. Minus of course the makeup, the frills and everything.
How about
sa akin si Elora. Siya yung na-imagine ko, especially nung nag-freak out siya na nakita niya na basta yun yung secret ng manager niya. Parang pwede niyang masabi yung, ha? Tapos parang sumigaw siya dun sa Stockholm.
Feel nyo kaya bagay si Barbie Fortesa dito?
Pwede.
Parang maliit na medyo cute ang Peg. Pero hindi ko lang alam yung capacity niya for comedy eh. Pero
uy, kaya niya yun.
May comedy ba siya mga Barbie fans dyan?
Yes, pero hindi naman ako fan ni Barbie.
Niya.
Pero yung mga series niya like Meant to Be and yung bago mag-pandemic, yung Anak ni Waray versus Anak ni Biday. Kaya ni Barbie to do comedy.
Tsaka
full disclosure
sa
lang.
Heroes,
Sige.
Lagi siyang irritable doon. Yun na, iirita siya. Tsaka parang dinadaan niya lahat sa tawa. Ganyan.
Pwede no? Pwede.
Hindi ko nang ma-imagine na nagmumura si Barbie.
Yun nga eh. Out of type. Parang hindi sa type niya. Pero, yan. Thoughts ko about the film. Ay, sige. Sino yung gusto mong gano'n? Salita.
Ako, parang dissenting opinion sa akin. Pero actually okay lang sa akin si what's her name? Phyllis Grande. As dito sa role niya na to.
Mm-hmm.
Yung description na cute yung acting niya, parang weird lang yan. Pero yung other aspects of it, like yung pagiging disinterested niya na parang push over lang talaga siya. I think naggumana naman.
I think yung parang approach niya to the role is parang deadpan siya eh. Pagka-deadpan.
I guess kulang lang talaga dun sa yung pinapoint out ni Princess na specific scenes, yung kung kailan nag-demand ng more out of her. Pero for most of it naman, okay lang.
Okay. Ako, personal thoughts about the film. I agree a bit with Rafi na absurdo siya. As in, it's an exercise in absurdity. Pero at the same time, it's showing us that this happens in not necessarily the absurdity happens in the real world, but why should we have to resort to absurd things just to keep up with yung expectations ng employer sa atin na kailangan na tipong unless marunong ka magkagibunshin technique, mamamatay ka sa trabaho. Ganon ang peg ko sa kanya. And at yung end niya na tipong pareho silang mannequins sa store na para silang naka-display lang. It shows na kahit na yung boss ni Phyllis Grande ay parang nadawit din sa sistema. Parang she's still under the same system na that exploits her as much as it exploits the character of Phyllis Grande. So, ayun. Parang, it's just it sucks. Mahirap maging trabahador sa Pilipinas. Yun lang. regularization for all. Any more thoughts about Excuse Me, Miss?
Ako, may naisip ako regarding Excuse Me, Miss. Because, di ba Q Cinema to last year, pinalabas short film. And at the same time, pinalabas yung Babae at Baril, di ba, ni Janine Gutierrez. So, parang magkaiba lang ng tawag dito, nung approach or the conflict na nangyayari with the films. Pero ang makikita mo dito ay yung mga characters, victim din naman ng capitalist system, ganun. Kaya di ba nung ini-explain ng character ni Miles Canapi na para sumusunod lang din naman siya doon sa system and you cannot parang blame her. Kasi ayun na yun, nandun na yung sistema. So ano pa yung magagawa niya? And I agree with Rafi and says na yun nga ang naging flow ng film dito ay yung acting nga ni Phyllis Grande kasi hindi niya masabayan yung intensity ni Angelina Canapi or ni Miles Canapi when in fact dapat napapantayan niya or nasasabayan niya lalo na dun sa mga confrontation part ng film. So ang naiisip ko na actress na pwede ring gumanap ay sa lead character, si Divine Ospina or si Divine. Yun lang.
Okay.
Pero hindi ba yung fact na hindi niya masabayan yung ibang actors, parang nakaka-contribute din sa role? Kasi parang, yun nga yung point, di ba, na hindi niya masabayan, parang hindi siya makakompete dun sa sistema.
May pagka-meta siya, no? Pwede nga naman.
Pwede din. Actually, pwede din.
Ayan. So, let's go to The Slums. Yan. The Slums is another graduate of
C1.
Cinema One Originals 2019. It's a film directed by Jan Andre Kobe. And trivia lang. Hindi ko rin napansin at first kasi medyo nakalimutan ko na nung napanood ko yung The Slums at first. Na iba yung cut nito from the Cinema One version. In particular, yung subtitles niya iba, which removes an entire meta layer from the whole thing. Pero yun, it's a mockumentary / comedy film about an urban poor family terrorized by a documentary crew that promised to help them. Jim, your thoughts on The Slums?
It's wickedly funny and satirical nga siya. Yun, mockumentary siya. And yung mga ganitong films, we already saw it in Akin ang Corona and G. Ganun. And ang napansin ko dito or na-observe ko ay yung paggamit ng TV. Kasi di ba yung family, yung libangan nila is to watch TV. Tapos nasira, ganun. And at the same time, the style of the documentary na ginagawa ng mga filmmaker is irony nung pagkasira ng TV because the style of the documentary filmmaking ay hindi na siya realistic. For instance, dun sa eksena na 'di ba nasa table sila, nakamakain. Doon ako natawa yung sinabi, pwedeng pakitanggal yung table, ganun. Kasi nga 'di ba para to make it realistic na mahirap. Pero kasi alam naman natin, hindi naman lahat ng mga nasa slums or squatters area ay may ganung setup. Magugulat ka nga kasi may mga nakatira sa squatters area. Sa labas, hindi maganda yung bahay, pero sa loob, magugulat ka, may mga flat screen, may gadget, ganyan. Yun, kumbaga, ang natatawa rin ako doon kasi ako na-experience ko na pag nag-shoot talaga sa public affairs, yung mga may eksena kasi dyan na yung nag-zoom in, tapos nagta-tight shot. Ganun na ganun kasi mag-shoot ng show sa public affairs. I was able to experience it. Ganun. So natatawa ako doon and then yung kapag ganito po gawin natin, ganito ganyan, ganun. So ayun, parang somewhat pinapaalala niya rin sa experience o nakapag-direct ng mga pag-shoot dati. Ayun.
To those in the know, alam ba niyo kung yung director nito worked in public affairs or some similar
No, but maybe we can ask him.
Sige, tanungin natin pag nag-guest natin. Yan. Thoughts on The Slums? The Slums, nakakatawa siya sa akin. Ang ganda mas maganda admittedly yung Cinema One cut kasi the subtitles are a big part of yung disparity between what audiences see and what audience in the subtitles, I mean. What audiences see in the subtitles and what audiences hear doon sa sinasabi ng mga tao. So, sayang na nawala yung layer na yun in this. Hindi ko nga napansin at first pero yun nga. Nakakatawa siya. Nakikita mo yung yung reliance on some filmmakers, not just documentary filmmakers, pati filmmakers that make narrative films na fictional, that depict poor people, na sobrang minsan walang-wala na silang dignidad, tinatanggalan mo pa dun sa paggawa mo ng storya mo. And maybe in some future films, lalo na sa mga indie short section, makikita mo yun in full force. Pero in this case, yan na nga Tas, tipong masaya naman sa body image yung nanay, pero sinabihan siya, bakit meron bang, yung parang magtatanong ka na, meron bang mahirap na mataba? Meron naman, guys. or yung yung ka-actor ni Dylan Ray, na tipong may mga binibigyan siya ng issue na wala naman siya. Tapos yung character ni Ken Nuyad, na parang bata lang, pero parang pinapalabas ng documentarians na meron siyang some kind of developmental problem na ganon. Any more thoughts about the slums before we close this first part of Cinemalaya 2020?
Mine are not thoughts really, but more of like a question. Kasi based on my research, sa social media, I've heard na the reason why this was the Cinemalaya cut, it was accidentally screened as an international cut. Kasi yan yung international cut ng film . Okay. And, the director and the producers, decided in the long run to just keep it as it is, to just screen the international cut sa Cinemalaya. So that, some of the juries, if they're international audiences, they would be able to understand the conceit behind the film. So yun, tanong ko is, do you think it would have worked Cinema One cut, which was very absurd to an audience, or to a wider range of viewers?
Alam mo, Rafi, ang ironic, no? Parang here is a film that's trying to criticize yung pag-iba ng form ng isang pelikula, ng narrative structure ng isang pelikula to cater to international audiences. And yun ang exactly na ginawa niya, to defer to international judges. Parang it became the thing it wanted to destroy. Parang Nietzschean, the monster staring back at from the abyss, ganon.
But from what I've read, the director admitted it naman, and he's not proud of, what he has done with showing the international cut, of course. Pero yun nga, I think it's best for us to understand what his perspective was then of the decisions that they made. But I have to admit nga na the Cinema One original cut was leagues better than the Cinemalaya cut, simply because of how it presented its themes. Kasi parang with the Cinemalaya cut, like what you said nga, Doc, parang paradox. Kinontra niya yung gusto niyang sabihin. But this time around, with paradoxes kasi meron pang ito parang wala nang sense yung point mo. Ganun.
Ika nga ni DJ Khaled you played yourself. Ganun ang nangyari sa akin. So, yun, parang, sayang, pero hopefully in the future makita ulit ng mga tao nakapanood ng Cinemalaya Cut. Makita nila yung pang-Pilipino, kumbaga, quote-unquote, cut of the film.
The Kobe cut.
The Kobe cut.
Release the Kobe cut.
Ganun. Any more thoughts about the slums before we close this up? Okay na. Those are the 10 films of Cinemalaya 2020. Overall, personally, and I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me. This is an okay lineup. I guess compared, Yung pinaka point of comparison ko for this is yung mga shorts from other years. Na in fairness naman, especially maraming experimentations informed din dito. Yung Fatigue for one, talagang iba siya eh. Iba yung dating niya sa akin eh. And pati yung pagpakalma sa unos, I really enjoyed that. And kahit na yung pinaka hindi ko gusto doon sa lineup na to, carry lang sa akin. It's not as horrible as the most horrible film shorts from other years. Pero I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me. And that's okay. Ayan.
May tanong pala ako. Di ba noong 2015, puro short films lang din ang Cinemalaya?
Yun yung Pusong Bato yung nanalo.
I see.
Yeah.
Sanctissima din ba? Naging part nun? If I'm not mistaken. Yung kay Kenneth Dagat. Geografia. Ay, ang ganda ng year na yun. Ang ganda pala yung taon na yun. Prototype niya yan for Too Cool to Be Forgotten eh. In terms of aesthetic, I guess.
Yes, maganda yung lisyon.
So, yun. If you have any more thoughts,
That was my first year.
In fairness sa'yo, our junior member of Charet. Pero ang saya naman, Cinemalaya 20s. Ang pinanood ko doon yung mga yung mga from other countries mga Asian Visions, Jujubels Kasi 'di ba, walang Cinemalaya entry.
Yung The Tale of Princess Kaguya talaga. Worth it.
Yeah. So, masaya yung taon na yun, even though walang Cinemalaya entries. Ayun lang, sana next year bumalik na si Cinemalaya. Namimiss ko nang pumunta ng sinehan. Although, I'm not super optimistic about it. Pero yun, a man can hope. Para lang yung si Ate sa Under the Sun, naghahanap ng ulam. Hinahanap niya si Jan. Hinahanap ko din ang Cinemalaya / Gardenia. This is not a sponsored post. Yan. Gardenia, please come back. Trivia lang, nung nanood ako ng Cinemalaya ngayon, as in bumili talaga ako ng half loaf ng Gardenia. Kasi na-miss ko talaga.
Nakita ko nga.
Kasi kinakain ko siya habang, halos mangyak-ngyak ako. Parang, Gardenia. # hindi ko inaamin na kumain ako ng Gardenia sa loob ng PNA or Huseng Batute. Pero, maybe. Maybe.
Oh, no.
Wala na, banned na ako sa CCTV.
Never know.
You'll never know. But, masarap siya. Ayun guys, so stay tuned for the next part of our Cinemalaya 2020 coverage. We still have a lot of things to discuss. And on behalf of all of my co-members of Third World Cinema Club, we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!
This show is produced by Cutprint Podcast Network. Executive Producer Patsy Ferrer, Head of Business Development KL Carpio, Creative Director Christine Anido, Podcast and Social Media Manager Mia Escondo, Sound Engineer Erica Santa Tomas. To advertise, email us at podcast@cutprintproductions.com.
Third World Cinema Club.